Hi guys, it's Jessica here from the Quotation Bank, and welcome to this edition of the Quotation Bank Revision Tutorials, designed to help you in preparation for your GCSE English Literature exams. In these videos we take a key quotation from the text and provide a great model for how to go about analysing it precisely and how to get the most out of it in an exam, as well as providing you with the framework for an excellent revision activity you can then do on your own. In this episode, we will be looking at the fantastic and inspector calls, following the format of our Quotation Bank study guides, where we take 25 key quotations and explore interpretations, literary techniques, analysis, and suggestions on which essays the quotations could be used in. The Quotation Bank has guides for a variety of GCSE texts available on our website, Amazon, or online, so go and have a look, as well as follow us on social media. And if you find this video useful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe here on YouTube. Today we're going to be looking at a line delivered by Mr. Birling from Act 1 during the early part of the engagement dinner, where he seeks to justify his self-appointed role as an advisor to the youth of the play, lecturing them on everything from relationships to business, from politics to society. There is a huge amount of dramatic irony in Birling's early speeches. He makes a number of outlandish predictions about the future, from the success of the Titanic to the certainty that we will avoid war, all of which the audience already know are entirely incorrect. This dramatic irony has the effect of making Birling seem ignorant and foolish to the audience, and it reinforces Priestley's main argument that the upper classes do not have the right to simply assume power over the rest of society. However, Birling believes he is justified in his views, arguing that I'm talking as a hard-headed, practical man of business. So what are we going to do with this quotation in our answer, and how can the Quotation Bank help you in your exams? The Quotation Bank is designed to make sure that every point you make in an essay clearly fulfills the assessment objectives an examiner will be using when marking your work. So let's begin exploring this quotation by looking at interpretation. As you can see here, the interpretation of each quotation allows you to fulfill Assessment Objective 1, responding to the text and giving an informed personal response. It's really important you don't simply explain what the quotation means, but give your personal response to its effect on the audience. So in this quotation, we have discussed the fact that Birling behaves as the patriarch or male head of the family should do. Society at the time the play was set would expect him to be a provider for his family, unemotional and rational, focusing on the family business and maintaining their wealth. There are a number of contexts to take into consideration here, both when the play was performed in 1945 and when it was set in 1912. The contemporary audience would very much be focused on the selfish, arrogant tone of this statement. His views are designed to protect and accentuate the status of the elite, and his references elsewhere in the play to our interests, the interests of capital, and prosperity everywhere, are not socialist beliefs. Our and everywhere refer to the upper classes, not society as a whole. His role as a practical man of business is not to create wealth for society, but wealth for himself. However, it is important for you not to view Birling purely through the eyes of a 1945 audience member. In the context of 1912, Birling's determination to secure prosperity for his family, a good marriage for his daughter, and a solid job for his son would have been seen as admirable. Practical and hard-headed would have been entirely desirable character traits. But now we want to delve into some detailed analysis of how Priestley conveys this idea to the audience, and we're going to start by identifying some literary techniques. As you can see here, using subject-specific terminology correctly, in this case the literary devices used by Priestley, is a key part of Assessment Objective 2, and in this quotation there are some very specific language choices, as well as Priestley's use of alliteration. It is really important at this stage to remember never simply technique spot, that is, identify literary devices, for example saying this is a metaphor, or suggest Priestley uses imagery as it puts an image in the audience's head. When we identify a literary device, it is important to analyse the effect of that specific example. And if you don't know what the technique is, it really doesn't matter. It's the analysis that counts. So let's get to that analysis. We have provided as much analysis as possible. It is a great idea to analyse the quotation in detail. You need to do more than just say what it means, but also what effect the language form and structure has on the audience. For instance, in this quotation, try to bring out analysis of 4 or 5 different elements of it to really give depth to your response. As you can see in our analysis, we have precisely focused on between 1 to 4 words at a time, rather than the whole quotation in one go. So let's really begin to analyse some specific details. The alliteration of the h sound in hard-headed, a phrase Birling frequently repeats, has a cold tone, mimicking his coldness towards his workers. It is entirely up to you how you interpret the effect of the alliteration here. Some actors could use the sound to create a spiteful, vindictive tone, creating a character who takes pleasure in the coldness he shows his workers. Others may pronounce the h sound with a more light-hearted tone, depicting Birling as a man proud of his hard-headedness. The word hard confirms that Birling has no caring, compassionate side, and headed suggests he views things with his head, not his heart. He has no sympathy. This line is certainly evidence of why Priestley needs to introduce the inspector. Although the inspector is himself strong and focused, he acts as a foil to Birling. Whilst Birling is hard, the inspector focuses on the softness and humanity of Eva. Whilst Birling thinks with his head, the inspector's role is to force Eric, Sheila, and to some extent Gerald, to think with their hearts and emotions. If the older generation remain hard-headed, the younger generation develop empathy and appreciation for others. Finally, consider the setting of this line. Birling is giving his speech at his daughter's engagement, yet he does not identify himself as a father or a husband, but as a practical man of business. His main role in society is as a businessman, not a father. If, even in this celebratory moment for his daughter, he still defines himself as a man of business, then it is no wonder he has no sympathy for Eva's plight. Practical very much implies that for Birling, business and all of the elements around it is a functional concept. People are not seen as individuals, but rather as part of the business machine, hence the reference to them as worker, labour, or them. The lack of empathy and sympathy for Eva, and the plight of the working classes in general, all stem from the practical approach rather than the human approach that the inspector advocates. There is a great deal to explore in this quotation, but it is important that you only use it if it's relevant to the question you've been set, and so we're going to look at which essays this quotation might prove useful in. Your answer needs to be focused to fulfill Assessment Objective 1. This section helps you choose relevant quotations and link them together for stronger essays. This quotation certainly provides useful exploration of the theme of family within the play. As I mentioned, this line is delivered during his daughter's engagement dinner, but there is no father of the bride tone here. The role of Birling as a man of business is to enhance his own family's social standing by getting his daughter married off to the son of his closest business rivals. The same is true later on when Birling learns of Eric's behaviour. The hard-headed, practical man of business focuses entirely on Eric's theft from the company rather than responds as a father. The theme of family also links with the role of marriage within the play. As we discussed, the marriage between Sheila and Gerald is simply good business and has links to marriages between aristocratic families that were designed to tighten grips on power. In Act 3, once Gerald has allegedly proved the inspector was a fake, Birling's response is to coerce Sheila into accepting Gerald's proposal once again. His fatherly anger at Gerald's affair is completely absent as he slips effortlessly back into his role as a hard-headed man of business. And finally, this quotation certainly enhances our understanding of Priestley's views on society. In the inspector's final speech, he makes clear, "We are members of one body. We are responsible for each other," in complete contrast to the selfish, business-like approach of Birling in this quotation. Priestley gives the audience a choice: Birling's capitalist attitude or the inspector's socialist view. That brings us to the end of our analysis of this quotation for today. I hope you found it useful, and if you have, do give a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos from the Quotation Bank. Don't forget to check out our study guides, where we follow the revision structure you've seen today on 25 key quotations, as well as being full of essay plans, revision activities and more. They're available from our website and other online stores. And follow us on social media, send us a quotation and we'll try to help you out with your analysis. Thanks.